All of that on the table, and to help walk us through all of that, great criminal defense attorney. He's a one-man justice squad in and of himself. There he is, Jeff Gold. Jeff, first, let's hit the big one. Will we get a date set by Judge Sherry Stevens of a penalty phase retrial?
You know, I don't think we'll get a real date today. These issues have to be settled first. Now, it is possible that if all these issues are settled, if all three of those big issues are settled, we might get a date. But I think not. I think that we've got to go through these issues. She's got to make a decision. It's a closed hearing. She may just hear argument and then not make a decision yet. So I think we've got some time till we get a real date.
Okay, let's hit some of these issues, time permitting here. Change of venue. What are the odds that Judge Stevens, everybody's going to say, okay, great, change of venue. Let's move it out of Maricopa County?
Very, very little, because what's the difference? This is a case that's got serious national attention. What's changing one county going to do? Nothing. So I think that's very, very, very remote.
Yeah, you know, even reading the state's argument, very interesting, just lays it out there, that Jodi Arias likes the publicity, and I'm quoting here, when it suits her, and then they complain when the publicity will affect her right to a fair trial, because we know she gave a ton of interviews and after post-verdict interviews as well. So the state arguing that one. What about sequestering the jury? Again, I would think this is going to be a tough sell, because it's the inconvenience and money issues there in Phoenix, right, Jeff?
Right, and generally, it's my understanding that it's just not done in Phoenix. So I think, again, slim to none, if maybe just none, that it's not going to happen. And besides, you know, what does that say about the other jury? I mean, remember, we have a bunch of appeals to come if this thing doesn't go Jodi's way. And even if it does go her way, she's still going to appeal all the things from the trial as to guilt. So what would that say if the judge now says, uh-oh, we have a problem? You know, Houston, we've got a problem. We've got to change the way we're doing something. That means there's doubt on how she did things before. Not going to happen.
Okay, let's hit this. Is an interesting one. This is the modern era here, to check jurors' Twitter accounts. And we saw social media looked at in the Zimmerman case. Could we see it here?
Oh, I think so, Mike.
Okay.
I think that to a large degree, if you talk to social media experts, Jodi, to a large degree, changed the nature of Twitter. Just a big bump in Twitter followers and things. So, number one, it's ironic that this new issue would be talked about so much in Jodi's case. I think it's a real issue. I think that the judge can certainly inquire of the jurors. Do you have Twitter accounts? What are they? Because a lot of them are anonymous, and they might have one, you know, about Jodi without anybody knowing that. So I think, A, it is a real issue, B, that the judge is likely to ask some questions about it, and that can be done in camera in a closed session so everybody doesn't have to know about it. But I think that the defendant is entitled to know if there's somebody out there tweeting about her. You
know, as we've covered this, you're not alone in that opinion. We've had other attorneys as well, some of our experts come on and say, yeah, that one likely that the defense might get that one. All right, Jeff, hang tight. As we get any, will they set a date for a retrial of the penalty phase? Back with us, our one-man justice squad. He's criminal defense attorney Jeff Gold. Let's hit that one. Are we going to get a date today, Jeff, on a retrial?
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. I think they'll argue these. And there may be a date, but will there be a real date today? No, there's not going to be a real trial date today, in my opinion, unless these issues are already settled. I mean, the judge has to go through them. They're all media issues. They make a big difference as to how the trial will be conducted. If the media was let in as opposed to the media not let in, if a jury was sequestered as opposed to not sequestered, venue, these are all things that really have to do with where the trial is going to happen, how it's going to take place. So I say not. We're not at that stage quite yet.
Okay. Again, by the way, we have one of our producers right there in Phoenix. If we get any information, if we get any footage, we'll turn it around for you and let you know what's going on. Hey, Jeff, let's go rapid fire here through the big issues that are being dealt with in this hearing. All right, let's go right down the line. Change of venue. What are the odds that's happening?
Very unlikely. This is a case which has gotten national media. You know, it's being surprising to think someone else in a different county in Arizona would know a lot less about it. And as your research has shown, even people in Phoenix don't know as much as you might think. So no or little chance.
All right, sequestering the jury. Same issue kind of applies. Inconvenience, money, cost to sequester a jury. What are the likelihood that's happening?
Well, it's really a different type of issue in the sense that the sequestration focuses at the period of the trial itself. The jurors, of course, would be theoretically from Phoenix, but the question is, did you have to put them in a room so they're really under lock and key and are away from media, etc.? And the answer is that's not going to happen in Phoenix anyway. And it didn't happen in the other trial of the substantive charge, and it would only say to an appellate court, if you needed a new jury now, but maybe you should have had one before. It's also not going to happen.
All right. Defense wants to look at a potential juror's Twitter account. You think that's happening?
Yeah, I do. I think that is a legitimate, modern-day type of motion that ought to be granted, especially in this case. Jodi Arias, made Twitter in a lot of ways. I think there was a huge spike in Twitter just because of Jodi Arias, and then, of course, Zimmerman after it. I think we're in the modern age. You want to know if one of those jurors has an anonymous account called, Jodi Arias whatever. These are
one
things
side or the other.
And you could do and you could do it in camera, meaning in chambers or in a closed hearing, so everybody doesn't have to know what your Twitter account was. But I think it's very legitimate.
Got it. Okay. How about questioning the potential jurors individually?
Yeah, I think that's something that should be done in a case like this. The judge usually asks general questions. I think it can be done, but every place has its own procedure that they're used to doing. In fact, even in a county, a judge will have a procedure versus a different judge. And no one's to say which is better or not unless you have an appellate opinion that determines you have to do it, and that's not the case here. So that'll be up to the judge. Usually they'll do general questions, and then when there becomes something to ask a juror, then go privately or just ask individually.
Hey, last one real quick. Limiting live media coverage.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen for the same reason as the other one I mentioned, because if you say the media has been so damaging, we've had the substantive trial after all, and you say that didn't work out, well, what does that say for appeal? That gives it, to grant it now is to say there was a problem before. Not going to happen.
Got it. Great work, Jim.